Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we are going super deep on something pretty fascinating in the crypto world.
Oh, yeah.
Kraken.
Okay.
Kraken, one of the big leading crypto exchanges out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Kraken.
They just did something really interesting. They launched a crypto derivatives service
Hmm.
in Australia.
Interesting. Okay.
Now, this isn't just like, your average, Coinbase for the everyday person. This is like for
Yay.
institutional investors,
Mhm.
high volume traders, big
Mm.
money.
Wow. Okay, so right off the bat, that begs the question, like, why Australia?
Right.
What's the draw?
Yeah, exactly. Why Australia? What is it about that market or that region
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's so attractive to these big players?
Well, I think a big part of it is that Australia has been really on the ball when it comes to setting up like a clear regulatory framework for crypto assets. And for these institutional investors, that kind of certainty,
Yeah.
it's like music to their ears. They need a stable and predictable environment if they're gonna, really dive in and make those big moves.
Makes sense.
So, while other regions are still kind of like, figuring it all out,
Right.
Australia is basically like, hey, come on down. We're open for business,
hmm
especially if you're, willing to play by the rules.
So it's not just about like the size of the Australian market or anything like that.
Right.
It's the regulations, the fact that they have that clarity.
Exactly. And Kraken seems to be really embracing that they're diving in head first, fully compliant. They're
Excuse me.
they're not trying to cut any corners, which again, for these big institutions is a huge green flag.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about the actual derivative service itself. Like,
Sure.
what are they actually offering here?
So derivatives, they're these financial products that basically get their value from some underlying asset, and in this case, it's cryptocurrencies.
Okay.
So think of it like you're not actually owning the coins themselves, but you're kind of like betting on their price movements.
Okay.
Allows for all these fancy trading strategies can get pretty complex.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why it's usually, the playground of these sophisticated investors who really know what they're doing and understand the risks.
And like we said, not just any investors, right? This is for wholesale clients. So could
Yeah.
we define that term a little bit more? Like, who are we talking about?
Yeah, so in this context, wholesale, that means like the big guns, we're talking hedge funds, asset management firms,
hmm
maybe even some like high net worth individuals.
Got it.
We're talking serious money, serious players.
Okay, so just to recap here, we've got Kraken, which is already a big name in crypto,
Mm-hmm.
launching a service specifically for these large-scale investors
Yes.
in a country that's basically rolling out the red carpet for them
Mm.
with all these clear regulations.
Precisely. It all seems very, very deliberate.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And the timing too, they just launched this on November 3rd.
Oh, wow. So this is brand new?
Very
Yeah, so they're moving quickly to capitalize on this opportunity. Clearly, they see a lot of potential in Australia
Yeah.
and maybe even like a blueprint for how they want to approach other regulated markets going forward.
That makes a lot of sense. Um, One thing that caught my eye when I was reading about this was this multi-collateral support
Mhm.
feature. Can you tell me a little bit more about what that means?
Yeah, so basically, this gives those wholesale clients a lot of flexibility.
Okay.
They can use not just like regular fiat currency, but also stable coins and even other cryptocurrencies as collateral.
Hmm.
So, it opens up a whole world of possibilities for managing risk, which is obviously something these big investors are always thinking about.
Now, obviously, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is, derivatives can be risky.
Oh, absolutely.
Even Kraken themselves,
Hmm.
they're very upfront about that warning about potential for significant losses.
Yeah.
You could even lose more than your initial investment.
Yeah, derivatives are powerful tools, but they're not for the faint of heart, They require a deep understanding of the markets and a very careful approach to risk management.
Yeah.
So, it's not just like, downloading a trading app and, YOLOing into whatever coin is hot that day.
Right. It's a different game.
It's a different ballgame entirely. And it's great that Kraken is, being upfront about that and making sure people understand the complexities involved.
Yeah, and speaking of understanding complexities, I noticed that Jonathan Miller, who's Kraken's Australia GM, he really stressed their commitment to regulatory compliance.
Yes, and that's crucial. It really shows that they're not just trying to make a quick buck. They're in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
They're playing by the rules, and that builds trust not just with the regulators, but also with those institutional investors
Mhm.
who are, they're looking for stability and reliability.
Yeah, so to kind of sum it all up here, We've got Kraken, which is a major crypto
Mhm.
exchange, making a very deliberate and strategic move into Australia
Yes.
with a pretty sophisticated service aimed specifically at those big investors.
Yeah.
And they're doing all of this within a very well-defined regulatory framework,
Exactly.
which seems to be one of the biggest draws here.
It's a smart move, and it's definitely generating a lot of buzz.
Yeah.
Everyone's watching to see how this plays out.
Yeah, it really does seem like a potential turning point.
Mhm.
Could this be the start of a bigger trend towards institutional adoption of crypto?
It very well could be, especially in these regions with clear regulations.
Yeah.
Is Australia going to become like a hub for this kind of activity?
That's a great question.
It's an interesting question to consider.
Yeah, a lot to unpack there. And for everyone listening out there, the big question to think about is, could this be a glimpse into the future of the crypto market as a whole?
Yeah.
Will we see more of this kind of institutional adoption, but only in places that offer that regulatory clarity and stability?
Yeah,
It's definitely something to ponder as we watch this space continue to evolve.
absolutely. A lot of exciting developments on the horizon for sure.
Well, on that note, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks again for joining us for another deep dive.
Always a pleasure.
We'll catch you next time.
See ya!